Jacob, he has Fragile X syndrome, and he is also autistic. He is a very, he's a very rambunctious little guy. From the time he was born, he was the one that was climbing on top of the refrigerator, trying to sling from ceiling fans. He's been very outgoing, but he does have some issues with aggression, and he doesn't like loud noises and things like that. He's a very loving guy, and he loves his family. We were having to go to Charleston to the psychiatrist that he was seeing at MUSC, which is about 2.5 hours from our home, Johnsonville, South Carolina. And it was difficult for Jacob because of the travel. He would get very agitated. A lot of times we would not make it there because he would get so agitated and aggressive in the car that we'd have to turn around and go home. Whenever we got there, we would have to park in a parking garage that was about 15 minutes away. And then I would have to walk him to the doctor's office. There was a lot of sirens and everything around, so that was a distraction. Sometimes we wouldn't be able to make it into the doctor's office because there was so much going on. Then you have to wait for the doctor, sometimes 15, 20 minutes. And I had actually put it on Facebook that I was having a difficult time with that. And Ms. Gay Douglas messaged me about Hope Health with Telehealth. And it's about 40 minutes from Johnsonville, and it was a blessing.
So Jacob, I started seeing him probably about 9 months ago, and I saw where Mom was asking for prayer because she was really having a hard time. And we have a very tight community, and when we ask for prayer, we know that we're getting prayer. And so I mentioned to her about telehealth services, and I said, if you're interested, you'll be the first patient, but I'll hold your hand the whole way. I'll be right there with you.
I was extremely excited. I didn't know anything about it. But I knew that if it meant that I did not have to take him over 2 hours to an appointment, I was ready to learn about it.
But it's definitely worth a try. And then I think the end of the story, he's got to understand he's not staying.
Telehealth is a great way to have access to care for patients who live, especially in rural areas. Normally a patient arrives and is checked in by a patient care tech, and then the TV is cut on and they connect with the provider. Because children with special needs have special needs, I actually interact more with them as the provider on my side, and so I'm actually in the visit with the provider from MUSC or from wherever we connect to.
It's just like a regular doctor's visit. You get prescriptions. He tells Ms. Douglas what prescriptions to write. She calls him into our pharmacy. And so all that is taken care of. If we ever need anything, I can contact Ms. Douglas, or I can also contact his office as well.
Telehealth, well, for me, it's a mission. It's what I was put here to do, to help my patients, to be an advocate for them, because I have that opportunity.
It saves us time. It saves peace of mind, I think, as well, because I know whenever I get here, it's not a long wait. It's not going to be loud. It's just going to be very convenient, and it's very helpful for Jacob. Jacob loves football, and he goes to the football games every Friday night. He always has a favorite player every year. Well, he got a football helmet. That was one of his rewards when we had to go to Charleston one day. It was a very difficult day, and we actually stopped by a store and we got him a football helmet. The coach saw him at the football game and gave him some flashes, because that's our name, with the flashes, put on the side of his helmet. He went riding with his grandfather one day, and he lost the helmet. It fell off the back of the truck. Well, we looked everywhere, got on Facebook. Everyone in the community was helping look for that helmet. And all of a sudden, my doorbell rang. And it was a lady. She had saw what I had put on Facebook. Her son was on the football team. He brought Jacob his helmet. Jacob was ecstatic. About 15 minutes later, my doorbell rang again. It was another man who had brought us his helmet that he was keeping on a shelf for his son. But he knew how important that football helmet was to Jacob, and he gave us his helmet. We ended up finding the helmet, actually another person in town, and saw the helmet on the side of the road and contacted me and brought it back. So he still totes that helmet everywhere he goes, usually on Friday nights. That's the positive aspects of living in a small town where everyone knows everyone, and they treat my children as if they were their own. Jacob, he has taught me that just because you're different doesn't mean he's any less. He's still a bright child, able to do anything that anybody else can do. It just takes him a little longer. And sometimes we just have to do things a little different. For example, telehealth. This is what we have to do in order to get the medicine that he needs. And I'm just thankful for that.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye, Jacob, you TV star.